All right, welcome back, folks. This is F117A Nighthawk Stealth Fighter 2.0. It was a game made in 1991, and it is one of two games that my old man really likes that he talks about a lot. The first one being Rebel Assault, which I've already done a playthrough on my channel. I'll put a link in the description below to that playthrough. But for today, I'm just gonna play one strike mission in this game and just talk about my thoughts on it. I've clocked in about 2 hours into the game at this point. So yeah, let's go have a look at that. So the basic premise of the game is you're a pilot in the US Air Force. You're assigned to the stealth fighter, and you just go and run strike missions. As far as I can tell, there is no real campaign system. The manual didn't mention anything like that, and throughout the playthrough right now, I don't really see any like proper campaign progression or anything like that. So yeah, you just pick a theater. I'll actually show you guys in a second. So when you start off the game, you pick a pilot that you want to play with, play as, sorry. You get the switch. They give you quite a lot of options. So you have the opponent quality, the landing. But this one's interesting here. They give you two versions of the aircraft to fly. The micropose version, which is basically the arcade version, it gives you a bunch of air-to-air missiles, more weapon slots, and a gun. Or you can play the Lockheed version, which is the more realistic, quote-unquote, version of the game. So that's what I'm gonna try here, the realistic version. So complete the form, exit. All right, so this is the main menu, basically. And if you go over to the CO's room here, you actually have an option of playing in a bunch of different theaters, basically. For this one, I'm going to pick the Desert Storm one because I haven't tried this yet. And what you can do is you also have different options for the kind of missions that you might be able to get. So I'm just going to go with the conventional war because it's straightforward. If you do the Cold War and the Limited War, I think you get some like special operations missions where you go and take pictures, or you have to land in secret airfields and pick up secret stuff, documents or whatever. So that's a thing there. I'm going to take the strike training, not strike training, strike mission. Sorry. If you do strike training, you're basically invulnerable, so you can't really die unless you crash. That one is still in permadeath. So yeah, go for strike mission, then approve the transfer. All right. So that's where you can check out the different theaters. Now I've already selected that. We've selected opponent quality, veteran, the land. Okay, in this game, the landings are probably the thing that's gonna get you killed. But I'll get into more detail into that as we progress through the mission here. So after you selected the theater, you selected the pilot, you go to the mission briefing, which is this door over here. And just wait a bit. There we go. And then this is here the theater map. Now, unlike in, like I said, there's no real campaign progression, so nothing really changes from what I've seen. So it'll walk you through what your targets are. So we've got a weapons plant, chemical weapons plant, and I didn't read what the primary objective is. But this is how it usually runs for strike missions. They give you two targets, a primary target and a secondary target. Tell you which airfield you're taking off from and which airfield you should return to. So our primary target here is, I think, a radar station and an airbase. And then the secondary target is oh no, sorry. These icons here that you can hover over, these are the air defenses. So if you go over to the right hand side here, you can click on select all, and you can see all the ranges of all the radars and the missiles that are in the area. You can also see enemy troops, but so far I've never seen enemy forces on land actually playing into a factor into the game. So it's just the radar ranges and the missile ranges that you want to take a look at. But even then, I'll get to it when we start flying the mission. It's not that important. But you can see here, when we are exiting from our secondary target, we're going to be going through quite a lot of radar and missile coverage. So we're going to keep that in mind. So after you've taken a look here at the theater map, you can always look at the mission brief, which I will because I wasn't paying attention to the primary target. Primary target is a nuclear power plant. Oh yeah, well, cool, nice, interesting. Yep, nuclear power plant and a chemical weapons plant. Yeah, they're not. Hmm. Okay, this one's interesting. I never quite seen this before. They suggest the armament, the same type of weapon for both. Usually, they make it in such a way that the primary and secondary target will require you to use different types of weapons to be the most effective at destroying the targets, but not this time. So that's interesting there. Okay, so select weapons. So it's already the game will always automatically select the suggested weapons. You can always change it if you want. I'm not going to. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go check the manual just to double check what these weapons are because I'm not too familiar with all of them. This one here looks very familiar. You get the harpoons in the stealth fighter, not only for warships apparently, but yeah. So I'm just gonna go look up the manual and double check what these weapons are, just so that I remember what the launch ranges are, and then we will go to the hangar and start the mission. Okay, so I've looked up the stats. It's a laser homing glide bomb with a max range of 1 kilometer. So we're gonna have to get quite close. It's not like the which one was the one that I'm quite a big fan of? The Maverick. Yeah, this is a missile, but not for this. So we will go to hangar, and then it gives us this prompt here. So I'm gonna click yes. And you get a cutscene of leaving the hangar. You know, for a game from 1991, I mean, it looks good. Still looks all right. I mean, there's a lot of indie games now which go for this kind of aesthetic, and yeah, looks about the same. Okay, so let me talk about the controls before we take off. Because of the game being 30 years old, oh, actually, it's more than 30 years now. Jeez. Okay, the joystick. If you have a joystick, which I do have, which I'm using, the joystick only controls the flight controls and the weapon deployment. Selecting the weapons and handling the throttle and all of the other instrumentation, that's all done with the keyboard. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It is kind of weird, but it is what it is. So we have here in the, oh, let me get my cursor back. Oh, that's right. I can't point out here. Damn it. Okay. But oh, somebody just landed. Okay. And it took off again. I've never seen that happen before. Nope, that's new for me. So in the another guy. Jeez, okay, busy airport. So in the multi-function display on the right here, at the beginning, it will give you a summary of what you need to do. So primary target, nuclear plant, secondary target, chemical weapons. When we take off, I'm going to show you the waypoint system. But yeah, to take off, we have to use the keyboard. So if I press shift and equals, that will put our throttle all the way up to 100%. So that's what I'm going to do now. We'll take off and then I'll switch it to autopilot and we will, as we're flying towards the primary target, I'll just talk about some of the stuff here. So there we go, shift plus thrust, you can see is in the bottom right there. It's at 100 now. Now okay, taken off. Press 6 to put the landing gears up. So the numbers on the left there, that's our speed. Numbers on the right is our altitude. So now that we've got some altitude, got some speed, I'm going to slow us down to 80% throttle and go to autopilot. So you press 7 to go to autopilot. You see autopilot is on the top right of the display there. It says auto is highlighted. So there's that. Now if I press F7, that brings up our our mission information. Now this is a really cool display right here. So on the right hand multifunction display, you can see all the different waypoints that was shown in the briefing. And they are color coded. So they they correlate to the bar, which is at the bottom of that display screen, and you can see it progress as you're progressing through all the waypoints, which is really cool. I've never quite seen a feature like that in a game before. But yeah, now if we go to the left-hand multifunction display, we have two modes we can switch to. We have the map mode, which is what we're in right now, or the tactical mode, which is this smaller kind of arcadey kind of look. It's useful to switch to tactical when you're approaching the mission target because it zooms in. It's very hard to try and navigate using the map mode when you're really close to different targets and whatnot. So on the top here of the HUD, we can switch to three different modes. Right now in navigation mode, I'll switch it to the night. If we press F2, we can switch to the air-to-air mode, which no point in us being here. We don't have any air-to-air weapons. And the ground mode, which is the mode that you're going to be using for most of the time when you're conducting the strikes. For now, I'll just keep it in navigation. But yeah, okay. So I was talking about the landings and dying. So I don't really like this game. Partly because you can't really die, except when it comes to landing. And what I mean by that is that the game it's not easy, but it's not hard at all. I mean, I've purposefully tried to fly in such a way as to make it easy for the enemy to detect me. And you have to purposefully like take every action possible to increase your radar detectability in order for the enemy to even detect you before they can shoot you. So what I'm trying to say is that in the game, the aircraft in question here that we're flying is programmed to be so good at its stealth capabilities that there's basically not much challenge that the enemy puts up because you have to purposefully put yourself in a position where you're flying 90 degrees onto a radar station with your weapons bay open and at max speed, trying to make your radar cross section as big as possible. And then you have to purposefully do that for like a good few minutes because even if you get detected once by a radar site, it doesn't mean that the enemy knows you're there. You know, if it's just one blip one time, you can get by. You have to like be constantly being pinged by everything. So yeah, in terms of difficulty, the only really difficult thing about this game is the landing. I've died too many times to the landing. It's not easy, partly because of how the game looks. It's not like in War Thunder or in DCS where you can really judge it by the graphics. I find it really difficult to judge when it's just pixels coming at me. And yeah, judging the speed and the angle of descent, yeah, it's gotten me killed too many times at this point. But yeah, now regarding the missions themselves, I've already gone through how they usually go. What we have to do is basically using the multifunction display, we're going to have to cycle through all the targets and work the weapon systems. That's the fun part that I find. That's the part of the game which I like. It's just when you get to the target and then you have to conduct the strike itself. But as I said, since there's not much difficulty to the game and there's no real campaign progression as far as I know and I've seen, it does get bland after quite a few missions. Like I'm already 2 hours into the game and I'm already kind of bored, which is why I've decided to record this here video now. All right, so I've got the manual backup on my other screen here. Yeah, just double checking some stuff. So the way you go about this is simple. You press Shift Z and that activates the time compression. You can see it's active because at the bottom of the HUD, just above the navigation uh, light, it says Excel. That means the acceleration is on. So yeah. Now, if we take a look at, you will see there's red things that keep blinking, both on the multifunction display and on the screen on the HUD. Those are the radar sites that are actively pinging us. And if you look to the bottom left of the screen, just below the map on the left side multifunction display, you can see that EGR, EAR, and there's a red bar that's popping up. That is our radar detectability status. If that red bar reaches the far right red area, that means that we get detected, and there will be a sound indicator to tell you that you are being detected. But as I've said before, it really doesn't matter. It's never actually quite happened. Okay, so right there we've reached the first waypoint. Now moving on to the second one. Um, oops, wrong button. I wanted to change the multifunction display on the 7 here. Oops. Okay. Right, so you have to cycle through the map, otherwise it will just go off. It's just a design limitation, I suppose. But yeah, as you can see, we've already flown through quite a lot of radar sites and SAM sites, and no one's come close to detecting us. But let's go have a look at the camera system. So if we use the buttons, question mark, the apostrophe, and full stop and M, as you can see on the right hand multifunction display, it's now switched to the camera. Now this is the camera that's looking ahead, rear, right, and left. Now, because we're in the navigation mode, isn't actually prioritizing anything. So I'm going to switch to the ground mode, and there you go. We can actually see on the camera now targets. So we are looking for a nuclear plant. So if we press B, it will cycle through all the targets that are currently in the camera that we've selected. So we selected the one that is looking ahead. And okay, we have an airbase, we have a SAM radar, and that's about it. Okay, we're gonna have to get closer to the target before we'll be able to pick it up on the camera here. Now the SAM site that's to our right and below us is actually getting kind of close to our detection threshold. Nah, we're fine. It's okay. So in the manual, it gives you information regarding all the different types of radars. There's a I recall the Doppler because that's in War Thunder. I can't remember what the names of the other types of radar systems are, but basically it tells you how you can reduce your radar detectability depending on what kind of radar system is being used at you. So in some cases, you want to fly at 90 degrees angle. That way you reduce your cross section for that specific type of radar. And in other kinds, like if it's a Doppler radar, you want to fly at 90 degrees. This is the same in War Thunder when you're trying to lock up your Fox 1 missiles. If you fly 90 degrees on, it can't really track you very well. If you go right at it or right away, then you're playing to its strengths. Then there's another type of radar system where it's the other way around. You want to fly directly toward or away instead of at 90 degrees because that's the way that that specific system is designed. So you can try and take these into account and then try to avoid all the different radar sites that we fly through. But as I've said, the game is programmed in such a way that this specific aircraft that you fly is so good at its job, it doesn't really matter. You can fly right over a radar site and nothing happens. They won't be able to see you. Granted, if your weapons bay is closed and you're not going max speed and all this and that. But yeah, just cruising on autopilot like we've done here, no one has actually properly detected us yet, and there's no one here to shoot us. What's interesting is that there's not many aircraft in the air right now. In most missions, you will find there to be a lot of air activity, enemy air activity, but not the case here. So anyway, we are getting close to the target. Yes. Okay. Let me pull up the... Right, give me a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, we've passed the SAM site. We've got an airbase at 45 clicks out. Okay, there's the SAM site again, 44 clicks. There we go, okay. You can see in the multifunction display on the right here, nuclear power plant. And the game will tell you the primary and secondary targets, so you won't get mixed up if there's like multiple of the same type of target that you have to go after. Now, I think because we flew too close to one of the SAM sites, or radar sites, sorry, it stopped the time compression. That happens quite often, so you may not need to keep an eye on that if you're going on a long mission. But yeah, here we go. So 31 clicks out. The weapons that we have on board, we can see that press F5 here, the laser homing glide bombs. We have 4 available to us, but usually one weapon hit is enough to destroy a target. I haven't quite needed to deploy 2 at any one time, so yeah. Okay, I seem to have lost the target again. Okay, there we go. Wait, that's not the right one. Oh. I believe that I have actually flown over the target. Damn it. Okay. Right. Okay. I need to get off autopilot here. Okay, manually controlling the aircraft. I need to reacquire the primary target. Oh my. Okay, let's swing around. Slow down to 70%. Okay, that is not the target. The target should be off to our left here. There we go. Okay, locked it up. Primary target. Okay. Oh, getting stall warning. Okay. Okay, there we go. So if you look at the HUD, it's locked up onto a square. Now, the game will tell us if we have a solid lock where we can't miss with our weapons, if the lock symbol, which is just next to the ground selection there to the right, it will tell us, and we just deploy the weapon at that point. So we're going to fly just over it. Now, when we get to 5 kilometers, I'm going to open up the weapons bay door. Open up the weapons bay. Okay, so it's giving us a lock symbol. Open up the weapons bay. Okay, wait till we get to 1 kilometer and weapons away. Okay. Okay, hit. Destroyed. Okay. Nice. All right. So as I was saying, opening up the weapons bay increases your radar cross-section quite significantly. So you want to make sure you open and close it very quickly when you're deploying the weapons. So now we will go back to autopilot and continue on our waypoint. Yep. Okay. So yeah, there we go. First strike. Primary target destroyed. Activate the time compression. Increase speed. So yeah, now we just repeat the same for the chemical weapons plant. And that's it. Yeah. Now, like I said, I haven't quite actually gotten the landing part figured out. So yeah, we're gonna try again this time around after we're done with the secondary target. But if not, it is what it is. Okay, we've got the secondary target locked into the camera here. We do have available to us countermeasures. Now we actually have an enemy aircraft that's flying between us and the target, but they're blind. They can't see us. Okay, when we get to 10 kilometers, I will switch off the time compression. Okay, time compression off. 8 kilometers in closing. Autopilot off. Okay, weapons bay open. Weapon deployed. Weapons bay closed. Banking right. Hit. Okay.
Target hit.
Nice. All right, we are out of here. Okay, let's see if we switch to air-to-air mode. Yeah, there we go. So you can see here that's an enemy aircraft, MiG-21 fish pit. It's the guy that's to the right and behind of us on the map display, that red pixel that's been flying around. And yeah, wait a minute, he's landing? Huh. Yep, okay. Hmm. Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, you do have countermeasures available to you. So in the unlikely event that you do get detected and get shot at, you still have a lot of things at your disposal. So you've got chaff, you've got flare, you've got decoys, you've got the electronic jamming equipment and stuff. I can't quite recall what the actual name is, but you do have quite a lot of tools at hand to help you deal with enemy missiles if they start shooting at you. But yeah, I've never had to actually use any of them. Nope. So now we do the long journey home. Yep. I'm gonna edit all the parts where nothing happens. So yeah, next time we will see each other is when we're trying to attempt a landing. Okay, so we have almost arrived at the airfield. So I've got it locked up on the camera here. That's what I usually use to judge the approach angle to the airfield. Okay, yeah, we are coming in a little bit fast. Okay, line up the airfield. Couple. Okay, deploying landing gears. Gears deployed. Somebody just took off. Okay, come on, come on, come on. I can't believe it. What's the brake? Crap. Well, there we go. Brakes was 0. Ah, damn it. Okay. Yep, that's the end of that. But as I said, we got both targets, so technically mission accomplished, kind of. And then what happens after that is that it then generates you another mission. Now we can go through the debriefing, but we're not going to bother with that. Um, yep, okay. But okay, in the event that you didn't die, basically what happens is that the game then generates you another mission in that theater that you're in, and then you go fly it again. And all the missions pretty much follow the same kind of way that it happened. You have a primary target, secondary target, take off from this airfield, and then land at this airfield, and that's about it. Yeah. So that's all I have to say about that. Play through entire mission this game. Thank you for watching.